Hello everyone, my name is Nurhidayah Fosuzihan and I will be explaining about GIST content and GIST purpose. So, GIST content is a main idea or main purpose of something. In the TOEFL IBT test, GIST content question asks you to identify the main idea or main topic of a conversation or a lecture, while the GIST purpose question asks you to identify the main purpose of a lecture or a conversation. In the GIST content and GIST purpose question, they usually have something or text like mainly what is the text mainly about, what is the text mainly discuss about, or what is the student blank, or even what is the purpose of, and etc. Sometimes a conversation or a lecture can have more than one main idea. In a listening test, there will always be a GIST content question or GIST purpose question, but there will never be both of them. So you will have to choose more than one option. In a listening question, after reading a passage or listening to a conversation or a lecture, GIST content or GIST purpose question will always be the first question. So that's all for my explanation for the GIST content and GIST purpose topic. The next topic will be explained by my friends.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I'm Davina Azri and now I'm going to explain the function question in TOEFL IBT listening session. Function question asks you the real meaning of a statement in a context because a statement can have a different meaning depending on the context. In other words, the real meaning is different from the literal meaning. For example, if you're in the class and someone says, "It's getting chilly in here," what they might really be saying is, "Could someone close the window?" You could recognize function question because they include phrases like, "What does the professor mean when they say?" or "Why does the student say?" blah blah blah.
I'm Safira Fakri Jarsan, and now I'm going to talk about two of listening TOEFL question types. They are detail questions and attitude question. First, detail question. It is a type of question that requires specific type, like you need to find the important details in the question, whether it be general information or identity information, depending on the topic. You can find this question by according to and what is. Remember, this question only going to talk about the details, nothing else. Here is an example of detail question. Now, let's discuss the greenhouse effect and its impact on global warming. The greenhouse effect occurs when certain gases in Earth's atmosphere trap heat from the sun. These gases, like carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor, act as thermal blanket for the planet, keeping it warm enough to support life. The question: what gases are responsible for trapping heat in Earth's atmosphere? A. Oxygen and nitrogen. B. Carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor. C. Nitrogen, hydrogen, and helium. D. Carbon monoxide, nitrogen, and water vapor. The answer is B. Carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor. You can see that the answer is actually on the text. Next, attitude question. This question kind of related to our daily life, that when you need to recognize someone's feeling. This question will be asked about the person's attitude, way of thinking, or how you infer their feelings. Listening to the speaker's tone is really important to helping you solving this question. For example, the audio is telling about a guide that is currently discussing about the Colosseum's architecture. She happily gives the information to the student and didn't realize it actually helped to gain the moods. And the question is, how does the guide feel about the Colosseum's architecture? A. Neutral. B. Enthusiastic. C. Indifferent. D. Critical. And the answer is B. Enthusiastic. This is because the speaker's tone should be very cheerful, and that's associated with the feelings of enthusiastic.
In this video, I will talk about connecting content questions. So connecting content questions are a type of questions in the TOEFL IBT listening section that test your ability to understand about relationships between ideas in the lecture or conversation. Unlike detailed questions, these questions require you to combine information from different sentences or different parts of the audio. Connecting content questions may ask you to complete a chart or table, identify steps in a process, understand cause and effect relationships, classify information into categories, and predict outcomes based on what the speaker says. These questions will use language like what is the likely outcome or what is the relationships between A and B. So in conclusion, connecting content questions ask you to understanding about relationships among ideas in the lectures or in conversation.
Hello everyone, today on Inside the TOEFL test, we are going inside the TOEFL IBT listening section, specifically organization questions. Organization questions ask you to show your understanding of how a lecture is structured. You can recognize these questions because they often include phrases such as why does the professor mention or why does the professor discuss. These phrases usually indicate that the question is asking about the purpose of something mentioned in the lecture. These questions are often related to examples used by the professor. So, when listening to a lecture, it is helpful to pay attention to examples and to think about why the professor includes them. To better understand how a lecture is organized, it is important to listen for signal words. Signal words help indicate different parts of a lecture, such as the introduction, main ideas, examples, and conclusion. Some signal words show sequence, such as first, next, then, and finally. Others show time or chronology, such as before, during, and since. There are also words that show cause and effect, like accordingly and as a result. These signal words are useful cues that help listeners know when to take notes and how the lecture is structured. Inference questions ask the listener to show an understanding of the meaning of something that is not directly stated in the lecture or conversation. This means the listener needs to understand what the speaker implies, not only what is said directly. You can recognize inference questions because they often use phrases such as what are the implications of, what does the professor imply, or what can be inferred. This phrases shows that the question is asking about an implied meaning in the lecture or conversation. To answer inference question correctly, listener need to pay close attention to the speaker's word and tone, and think about what the speaker is suggesting indirectly. Sometimes, the speakers give hints through description, comparisons, or the way they explain something. One useful way to improve these skills is by listening to recordings of different speakers discussing the same topic but with different viewpoints. Pay attention to the words they use to support their ideas. Notice whether the words are positive or negative, and observe how speakers can imply ideas without stating them directly. There are many ways to improve your English skills. Whether you do, keep practicing and good luck on your TOEFL test.